Flowood Fire Department, Ridgeland Fire Department, Newton Fire Department, and Vicksburg Fire Department. And from the southern part of our state, Ellisville Fire Department, Moss Point Fire Department, and Ocean Springs Fire Department. Let's give them a hand. Guys, as I said earlier, you started your career in one of the world's most honored but yet hazardous professions. Since September the 11th, 2001, firefighting is ranked as one of the most prestigious occupations in America. Scientist. That places each one of you in a very elite group of people out there. Outside of wartime, firefighting ranks in the top 5 as the most so important that you learn the knowledge and the skills that's going to keep you alive and keep you out there helping the citizens that you're sworn to protect. You were trained to make a positive difference, literally when seconds matter. And usually it's when people are having the absolute worst days of their life. They look for you for some type of normalcy to bring their life back to normal. You were trained by one of the finest training staffs assembled anywhere in the world. And they taught you 3 major things: to save lives, to save property, but most importantly, to do it safely. Never forget the people that supported your effort in you being here. Your family, your friends, the mayors of your communities, your fire chiefs, your fellow firefighters, the instructors, not only the ones that you've had here, but the ones that you will have throughout your career. But lastly, and certainly not least, never forget the people that you're sworn to protect, the people that live in the community in which you reside. Guys, this is your State Fire Academy. I want to encourage you to continue to excel in your training and knowledge in this business. It very well could be the difference that brings you home to your family safe at night. Again, congratulations and good luck to you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. As Director Bell mentioned to you a moment ago, we're all on the grounds here at the State Fire Academy, which is the #1 fire training institution in the country. The State Fire Academy employs 28 full-time instructional staff members that are surround themselves with 3 instructional bureaus here at the Academy. The Certification Bureau is charged with delivering the NFPA 1001 firefighter recruit class. This is not only this is their 6th firefighter recruit class to do in this calendar year, mixed in with 5 other field deliveries of Firefighter 1001. So this will be their 11th graduating class that they put out on the soils of the state of Mississippi. In conjunction with just the firefighter class, this staff, I'm fixing to introduce to you here in just a second, has also delivered 4 company officer classes, 4 instructor classes, 4 safety officer classes, and 3 or 4 fire investigator and fire inspector courses. So not only are they charged with just the firefighter class, it's a wide variety of certification programs. Let me introduce you to the staff over here to my left. Starting on the back row is Senior Instructor Clarence Parks, Senior Instructor Keith Black, Instructor Advanced Mike Word, Instructor Barry Burnside, Senior Advanced Instructor Bill Trimble, Senior Instructor Will Cockey. On the stage to my left is Senior Advanced Instructor Ricky Lee, and the course coordinator for this firefighter class is Senior Instructor Rob Fisher. If you would, join me a round of applause for these gentlemen. I want to mention one other bit of thanks to our administrative assistant, sitting over to the left, Miss Rebecca Cahoon. Thank you for what you do. Just a few things to the class as we send you out on your way and you take your oaths and you get onto the fire trucks inside your community. First off, thank you very much for filling out that application back at the fire department that day. You know, it takes a special person to step up and say, hey, put me on the front lines in our towns and our communities. I can assure you our fire service needs this breath of fresh air you're going to inject into it this afternoon. So thank you for your dedication and that little drive inside your stomach that said, hey, sign me up. I'm there to help you. Just never forget the people that are there, that are around you, the loved ones that are there, and the people that you're going to bond with at the fire departments. Those are the guys that are there with you every single day that are willing to put their lives on the line for it. So thank you for your choice of service, and thank you for your hard work over the last 7 weeks. Good luck.
Hey, Captain Jack, meet me down by the railroad track.
With that axe in my hand,
With that axe in my hand,
I'm gonna be a chopping man.
I'm gonna be a chopping man.
Hey, Captain Jack.
Hey, Captain Jack.
Don't remember them saying I'd have to watch a man take his last breath with his wife and daughter at his chest, or to see a family's home go up in flames, knowing they just lost everything. But we've got to know we did our best. Go on and don't worry about the past. Try to make a difference in this crazy world today. 'Cause you know God made us that way. I never thought I'd see the terror in a mother's eyes as she watched her 15-year-old die. Or to feel the fire slap me in the face as it moves through this house at a steady pace. But we've got to know we did our best. Go on, don't worry about the past. Try to make a difference in this crazy world today. 'Cause you know God made us that way. And I hope to God I never have to see a brother fall in battle at a fire we can't defeat. We've got to know we did our best. Go on and don't worry about the past. Try to make a difference in this crazy world today. 'Cause you know God made us that way. You know God made firefighters that way.
Appreciate that, William. That last song that you guys just heard was written and performed by our own instructor chief Shannon Sandridge when he was a recruit here in the basic class also, probably about 20 years ago. At this time, I'd like to call the class speaker of 165, Jess Harrington from the Canton Fire Department.
And I heard the voice of the Lord call, "Who will go for me? And who shall I send?" And I responded, "I will go. Send me." On October the 24th, these 25 individuals answered that very same call. Some in their early 20s with long careers ahead, and some old enough to be their fathers, who are just now figuring out what they want to be when they grow up. But regardless of age or the reason to come, we all spent the next 7 weeks learning what was required to be a firefighter in the great state of Mississippi. Yes, we learned how to put the wet stuff on the red stuff, but we learned to do so in a manner to preserve property and possible evidence. We learned how to wash the bad stuff off the good people, but we also learned how to identify the hazard by the shape of its container and the code on its label. We practiced rescuing victims from superheated environments and mangled cars. And we learned how to do so safely, efficiently, and effectively. But we also learned a few things that are not in the books. For instance, jumping jacks, or whatever you call them, are extremely taxing when performed in multiples of 100. And a front-leaning rest has very little to do with taking a break. We learned that kindergarten teachers from Brandon Elementary like to hang out at Lost Pizza on Monday nights. That was actually just me that learned that. And we finally learned why all the old people in our neighborhoods growing up screamed at us for getting on their lawn. All the things that we learned, all the things that we did, brought us all together as one, making us part of something greater than ourselves. Because who are we?
165.
Yes, we are. And now it's time to thank those who helped us along the way. To the staff of the State Fire Academy, whose warm smiles and kind words helped us have a better day, thank you. To our departments, who picked up our slack while we were gone, thank you. To our families, who sacrificed so much so that we could be here, thank you. To the instructors, who showed us every day what it is meant to be called. Proverbs 27:17 says that as iron sharpens iron, one man will sharpen another. Thank you. And to the residents, visitors, and property owners of our respective communities, you're welcome. Because as of today, 165 is back in service.
Appreciate that, Jess. Great job. 165 is definitely the pinnacle of, I guess, my career here at the Fire Academy. 10 years as of December 1st this month. I've been here at the Fire Academy for 10 years. Love working here, a great job. And this is the first time that I've had an opportunity to be with this good of a group of people that are caring and empathizing. You know, when you first introduced to a bunch 7-8 weeks ago, 8 weeks with a Thanksgiving break, you know, you wonder what their personalities are like. You're trying to figure out who's who, who's the class clowns, who's going to be the leaders, so on and so forth. I should have known week 2 when I saw firefighter Russell, when I was peeping through the window, getting ready to give you guys tests, yes, that you were the class clown, but also that they were a caring bunch of guys. When I saw him in the front of the room taking index cards and calling out questions and answers to the entire group, instead of studying by himself, the entire class was studying together by week 2. So that's a pretty big deal to not be selfish, to be selfless in today's world and be worrying about our neighbor and our teammates. I appreciate that. I appreciate, guys, what you've done. So at this time, what we like to do is recognize some of the leaders of the class, some of the guys that achieved some of the high awards. They probably came back home on the weekends, was telling you some of the stories, if you will, of the PT that maybe we did that Jess was referring to, or the numerous amounts of tests that we take. So we're going to take a second and talk about those guys. First off, I'd like to talk about my class captain, TJ from the Amory Fire Department. I'd like him to come up and accept an award for his leadership that he did. He's the liaison in between me and 25 other young men. And you can imagine it's hard to get 25 people to do what you want to do as far as getting their coach together, getting down the hill. So I appreciate what he's done for class 165. The other person I'd like to recognize would be my lieutenant from the Vicksburg Fire Department, Mr. Michael Miller. Like I said, these guys help me out more than they know, just by being able to go to them and ask them to do a simple task as far as getting 25 guys down the hill or taking the flags down at the end of the afternoon, just carrying orders out. It means a lot. As I said earlier, we take a lot of tests. These guys take a lot of tests while they're here, and we lost a couple people because of academics. So at this time, I would like to recognize the individual with the highest GPA for Class 165, Mr. Jacob Mullins from the Moss Point Fire Department. Also, I'm sure you've heard we do a little bit of PT here. Week 1, we PT these guys and give them an assessment, see where they're at, measure where they're at from when they come from their home departments. We do a test also week 3 and week 7 we did this one also. And during that time, we take scores, what their mile and a half time was, how many push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups that they can do, max out. To recognize the person that is most physically fit for Class 165, that is Mr. Gonzalez from the Clinton Fire Department. Last but not least, the award we like to give out here is called a Making a Difference Award. Somebody who's made a difference in the class, made a difference in my life. It's not only in my life, but in the other students' lives. Somebody that's another liaison. There's a lot of guys I could have chose for this award by all means. But the one we'd like to give this to at this time is going to be Mr. Jess Harrington from the Canton Fire Department. As you see their class flag over here beside me, Class 165, it's got all their signatures on it. It's going to go up here at the Fire Academy forever. These guys come together as a team fairly early. I wouldn't say it's as earliest as I've ever seen, but as far as a group and achieving their flag, they got it around, what, week 4? Is that what it was? We come back from hazmat. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to the captain to get the flag.
At this time, Class 165 would like to return our flag to the Mississippi State Fire Academy. Right face, forward march.
The class flag to you and me looks like a piece of nylon, but it represents Class 165. It means that you're part of the State Fire Academy now forever, and it will be hung with the rest of the other classes in there, so you're always welcome back to this academy. The Mississippi State Fire Academy is a division of the Mississippi Department of Insurance. Insurance Commissioner and State Fire Marshal Mike Cheney could not be here today. He is out of town, but he wanted me to express to each one of you how much he appreciated your dedication in joining the fire service to help the citizens of the state of Mississippi. Our guest speaker today was appointed by Governor Bryant as the Mississippi Emergency Management Agency Executive Director on February the 1st of 2016. He's a new kid on the block. Before that, he served as Director of Military Support for the Mississippi National Guard for over 10 years. He has over 31 years of service with the Mississippi National Guard and the United States Army. During his time in the Guard, he supported domestic operations, Hurricane Isidore, Lily, Katrina, Gustav, Ike, and Isaac. The tornado outbreaks of 2010, 2011, and 2014. And of course, we all know the Deepwater Horizon oil spill that occurred in the Gulf of Mexico. He supported the Guard's federal mission with deployments to Bosnia and to Iraq. He holds a Bachelor of Arts degree from Tulane University, a Master's of Strategic Studies from the United States Army War College, and a Master's in Homeland Security from the Naval Postgraduate School. Please help me make welcome the Executive Director for the Mississippi Emergency Management Agency, Colonel Lee Smithson.
Well, thank you, Director Bill. Jess, when you get to be my age, you got to speak with notes. That's an excellent speech, but I'm too old to try to memorize that. And for you young pups, you'll be wearing glasses too. Thank you so much for having me here today. I always welcome the opportunity to speak with firefighters, especially on such an important day as your graduation from the State Fire Academy. Let's start with a quick story. An old fire chief died and went to heaven. When he got to the pearly gates, he saw there was a long line waiting to get in. And he said, "I'm a fire chief. I don't stand in anybody's line." So he goes up to the front of the pearly gates and says, "I'm a fire chief. Let me in." Well, St. Peter up there says, "Sorry, chief. You got to wait your turn just like everyone else." So the old fire chief turns around, goes and gets his place back in line. And he's standing there for a little while, and he sees a sedan pull up with red lights flashing. A guy gets out, he's got a helmet on that says "Chief." All the angels step to attention. They open up the gates and let him in. Well, needless to say, this made the old fire chief mad. So he goes storming up to the gates and says, "Hey, you let that guy in. Why didn't you let me in?" And they said, "Oh, no, that guy only thinks he's a chief, but that's really God." As many of you all know, and as Director Bell just said, I took over as the Executive Director of MEMA on February 1st of this year. Prior to assuming that position, I spent many years in the National Guard and on active duty. I've had the great pleasure of living all over the world, from Germany to California, from Bosnia to Baghdad. I've met thousands of great men and women who were true heroes. I've met Medal of Honor recipients. I've met Purple Heart recipients. I've met great heroes who were wounded in combat. I think we can all agree that there are true heroes in the military, but understand that the men and the women in the military, they get paid for their service. And while maybe not enough, they still receive compensation, medical coverage, education assistance, and other benefits for their dedicated service. In the firefighting community, especially with volunteer firefighters, this is not necessarily the case. You paid firefighters barely make a living wage, and volunteer firefighters often spend their own money just for the privilege to be called firefighter. So in my mind, all firefighters are true American heroes. To risk your life every day and ask for nothing in return is a trait too few Americans have. But I'm proud to be with a group of great folks like you all. Our firefighters sacrifice their time. You're always on call, 24/7, 365. The spirit of firefighters is what makes our nation great. In the South, we often lead the nation in bad things. But I can honestly say that when a disaster happens, from a single house fire to an automobile wreck to a tornado outbreak to something like Hurricane Katrina, Southerners lead our nation in volunteer support, charitable contributions, and commitment to restoring our damaged communities back to normal. Nowhere else does it better than we in the South do. Our churches are always there for our communities. So while we might not lead the nation in education or income, frankly, I'd rather be a citizen of the state that cares most about our neighbors than anything else. Family and community are what matters most. And I firmly believe that the Lord appreciates what all we do in time of crisis. I want to talk just a little bit about what we're seeing around the nation in recent months and recent years. From the Boston Marathon bombings to San Bernardino to Paris to the tragedy in Orlando, homegrown violent extremists are here, and they're here for the near future. Recently, our police have been ambushed for no other reason than the fact that they were in a uniform. It is absolutely essential that the entire responder community and emergency management communities begin to plan and prepare for large-scale terrorist attacks. We must use our imaginations and try to anticipate where our next attack will be. All too often, we react to the latest events and we over-prepare for yesterday's disaster. We don't look at what the possibility of the future is and what the next target might be. So let me ask you, are we prepared for a large-scale attack on our local Walmart? How do you do triage in a rural community, and how do you transport a large number of casualties to a trauma center that may be 50 or 100 miles away? How about an attack that draws in the responders and then a secondary attack on those responders? Our biggest killer in Iraq was improvised explosive devices. These were easy to make and easy to use against the military. Are we ready to deal with IEDs in our communities? Are we ready to deal with IEDs along our roads? Are we ready for the use of weapons of mass destruction? Each of these is an unknown. We and you, Class 165, must be prepared for the unknown. It's truly time to start pushing the see something, say something campaigns. In each of the recent attacks on our homeland, there were clues that were missed. We have got to work hard every day in improving our interagency relationships. Our responder communities have never been faced with the challenges that we see today. We've got to understand the unknowns and try to reduce the threats posed by unprecedented events. In order to do this, we must become a community of responders that sets aside our interagency rivalries. We must unify to prevent, detect, and respond to terrorist-type events. There's an old sports phrase that goes, Monday morning quarterbacks win Sunday games. This means we cannot devolve into finger-pointing and playing the blame game. At the end of the day, we all serve the people of our communities. We owe it to them to give our very best. It's already been mentioned a couple times today, but I want to take just a moment to address another group of people who I think are real heroes. Those are our families. For over 30 years, I've been married to my best friend in the whole world. She's the one who sacrificed so much, just like so many other spouses in the military, law enforcement, and firefighting communities. We love what we're doing, and we're prepared to die for what we believe in. But it's our spouses who must always be prepared to go on in the event that we make the ultimate sacrifice. How difficult it must be to say goodbye every single day and then wonder if that's the final goodbye. And then the knowledge that it's up to the spouse to carry on, to raise the children, maintain the household, and keep everyone together in the event of a great tragedy. Ladies and gentlemen, that takes true courage. It takes wisdom and it takes commitment. And I cannot begin to even tell my own wife, but all of you spouses, how much I appreciate your efforts. Our families have always been and will forever be the standard bearers for faith, love, and community. This graduation ceremony is as much theirs as it is yours. Since the tragic events of 9/11, we've had a generation of children who have witnessed war, unprecedented natural disasters, and terrorism in the homeland. As much as it pains me, we can't change this. What we can do is prepare for these events as much as possible. We owe it to the younger generations to make our nation a safer place to live. Our preparations must include understanding our threats. Once we understand those threats, we must develop plans, and then we must exercise those plans. We must develop novel approaches to the way we do business. We live in the greatest nation on earth, and I think that we can all agree that no natural disaster or group of terrorists can ever bring us to our knees. For over 240 years, we've endured hardships as a nation, and we've always come back better and stronger. Our current challenges are just that. they're challenges. When you leave the fire academy, I ask that each of you go back to your communities and think about how you respond from different perspectives. Focus on the next set of challenges and not the challenges you've been trained to overcome. We must constantly prepare for the unknowns of life so that our children don't have to solve our problems. We need to live up to our titles as leaders. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for being willing to make the ultimate sacrifice every single day. Have a great day, and may God bless each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Company 165. Roll call. Class 165. Roll call. 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 28, 30. Hey, 165, bless the capital. Sir.
Jamie Adams. Donnie R. Bender, Jr. Mark A. Collins, Jr. Cleother Crane, Jr. Andrew Dendis. Colin P. Etchison. Jacob W. Faulkner. Wesley C. Gates. Devin George. Stephen Jordan Gonzalez. Dalton Graham. TJ Harmon. Jess Harrington. Michael R. Miller. Isaac K. Morgan. Philip M. Morgan. Jacob H. Mullins. Jared J. Page. Evan Powell. Stephen D. Purvis. Zane A. Russell. Luke S. Taylor. Anthony Pete Waller. Austin S. White. Leonard J. Young.
Ladies and gentlemen, by the power invested in the Mississippi State Fire Academy by the laws of the state of Mississippi, I now award Class 165 the designation as firefighters in the state of Mississippi. God bless you all. That now concludes our ceremony today. I want to thank each and every one of you for your support for these men. Thank you for coming down, and again, support them as they support you. Hope everybody has a Merry Christmas and a very happy and safe New Year. God bless you all too. Thank you.